The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to Gate City Chronicles. I'm Kevin Avard, your host, and today we have a special group of, not a special group, we have a special couple who are part of education, a new form of education, or we can call it that, with the Micro Society. We have Tom and Teresa. Tom Malone, correct? And Teresa, I didn't get your last name. Roach. Teresa Roach. Well, welcome to the show. We've had you on before and about the Micro Society, and what a great idea, what a great concept. You know, we're living in an age where, you know, people are talking about Common Core. We're talking about standards that are from the feds, you know, being pushed down on people, and where we're already having issues where we're discovering where children learn on different levels. They learn differently. And the more you try to make a cookie cutter society, the more and more you're squeezing out people that learn completely different than that your target group. The Micro Society is another way of reaching kids that aren't fitting into the normal patterns or the normal traditional ways of education. You know, we've seen homeschoolers, and that was developed because they didn't like certain things. They didn't like either the topics or the way kids were being taught. Then we've had the charter schools. The Micro Society is kind of a charter school, correct?
Yes, we are.
But with a unique way of teaching. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay. Well, Kevin, it's nice to be back. Thank you for having us back. Teresa is here filling in for Cheryl, who joined us before, one of our parents.
Right.
But she's going to also talk about the parents as well. To give the viewers a bit of information, first of all, the Micro Society Academy Charter School of Southern New Hampshire was recently approved in August by the New Hampshire State Board of Education. And we're very pleased with that. We were approved as a public charter school, and we plan on opening September of 2015. So the concept of the Micro Society School is relatively simple. We try to teach the Common Core, do the best we can teaching the Common Core. However, we add the twist of Micro Society. And Micro Society is basically having the students create and operate the institutions, agencies, and ventures of their own society in the school. So hence, students will have the banks and the businesses, school currency, government institutions, publishing enterprises involved with various science, technology, engineering, etc. activities. So what the children are able to do is take some of the concepts which to many of the children are still very abstract, even after getting some wonderful instruction and probably getting some word problems in math, the traditional word problems. They still have trouble grasping the concepts. So the idea is to give children actual hands-on experience exploring those concepts. Mm-hmm. Now, I think we had talked before about yourself and your viewers probably at one point early in their childhood probably operated their own lemonade stand or Kool-Aid stand
I was just thinking about my sixth grade teacher, Mr. Muse. Here, it was at Temple Street School, and you know, I kind of struggled through the elementary school. I actually had learned differently than some of the other kids, but I remember Mr. Muse's class. He had plants. We used to do cuttings of. He called them wandering Jew. I guess that's what they were called. The plant.
Right.
And what we do is we learn about science. We learned about the cells. We learned about photosynthesis. And then we would take those plants. We would put them in a hydroponic type of thing, and we would grow the plants, and then we would sell them back to the teacher. All at the same time we were learning science, we were learning about biology on different levels, we were learning about farming, we were learning about making money, and we had to cash in. And of course he brought us to his farm. He had a farm at the end of the year. But he really brought a whole picture together, and it took a whole, you know, sixth grade class. And, you know, when I look back over the years, how he brought that together, you know, I'm 51, going to be 52. I still remember him, and I still remember the lessons he taught and how his method reached me. And that's the way I learned. It was through understanding how things work symbiotically with, you know, with everything else. If I didn't see a relationship, I couldn't draw, I couldn't get my mind wrapped around it. You know, for instance, algebra. Well, why do we have X? You know, no, that's not the problem. You know, but I would overthink it, and I would need a practical application. And I think there are a lot of kids that follow into the same kind of patterns. They're intelligent, they just take concepts differently. They just learn differently, and that was a beautiful way of presenting science, I thought.
Well, it sounds like you understand the concept very well, and I think it's important for parents when they start making educational choices for their children that they understand that you know, we're not doing something that's entirely foreign to children and their natural way of learning. And again, it's a matter of taking something from the page of the book, or these days your ebook or the tablet, and applying things in a hands-on fashion. And
it's almost like an apprenticeship.
Exactly. And in the case of the science lessons you did with a wonderful teacher, it sounds like, you know, in taking cuttings of wandering Jew plants and
reestablishing the root systems,
and letting them grow, and learning about photosynthesis and time, how long it takes to grow certain things and take root, etc. You can graft those things. You can do all sorts of activities just on that alone. And at the same time, what we would likely do in a science lesson like that is to have the students follow up by selling those plants to their fellow students.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Maybe as a special gift that the children could buy with the school currency that they have earned for their jobs doing other things, and they can use the school currency to purchase those plants for their own room at home, or to give as a special gift to their parents or their grandmother or what have you. And it really kind of closes the loop that in education in that regard. So
it gives you
even kindergarten children pretty much understand as they begin to learn counting, and you know, they learn the numeracy by counting out 1, 2, 3, 4, and things are counted out for them when they go to the bank and they get their currency, and then they go to the marketplace. And sometimes in micro-societies at which we've been a part of and seen in action, sometimes some of the primary children are like sailors on leave going to the marketplace, and they see all sorts of wonderful things that they might be able to purchase for themselves or for their
So you're teaching them about the economy,
parents.
About how to be a shopper, how to manage money, All these, and most of the times, you can get some people who graduate in college. They don't know how to manage money.
Exactly. Before I forget, Kevin, I'm not sure if I mentioned in the introduction, we're planning on opening the Microsociety School in the greater Nashua area. We have not found a location yet, but we plan on opening it next September.
Do you have applicants already?
We have some, but just today we were able to post on our Facebook page, and I think it's going to be shown on the screen at some point. On our Facebook page, if you go to the notes section, you can copy and paste a pre-enrollment form, and we can have parents complete the form, and it does not obligate the parents or us at that point to officially enroll the children, but it will kind of help keep those parents and students in mind when we start the formal enrollment process, which will be probably in March of 2015. At that point, the parents can decide if they want to follow up on the pre-enrollment by making it more official, and then submit the information on the application.
And where will the funding come from?
We're fortunate at this point. As I said, we were approved by the New Hampshire State Board of Ed, and we're going to be receiving funding from the charter schools money that's allocated by the state of New Hampshire. There are two different funds, but it gets a little complicated. I won't get into it. However, we will be getting seed money prior to that from the state government that's being given by the federal folks from the Department of Ed.
Okay.
So the money goes from the feds for starting charter schools to the Department of Ed in Concord.
And you are looking to locate here in Nashua?
We're trying to locate in Nashua or an immediate surrounding town.
Right. Do you have a targeted amount?
We have a small committee looking at some facilities.
Do you have a targeted amount of students that you're looking for?
Right. We're expecting our first year to open with kindergarten through 5th grade, and we are looking to have 120 children in the school to start. If there is a demand, we could consider going back to the State Board of Ed to get their approval to advance ourselves a year by taking it in 6th graders during our opening year rather than waiting a year. But if there's a demand, particularly, parents might not want to break up siblings. So if they have a child in 2nd grade that's entering the school and they have a child in 6th grade, if indeed that's an issue and we have enough demand, we would consider going back to the state board to have the school open with K through 6.
Now, having the children from K through 6, you're going to have quite the society. You're going to have, you're going to incorporate the children from kindergarten into the same society as the children up to 6th grade, and somehow they'll have this relationship.
Exactly. And there's a great opportunity for the older children to do to reinforce what they've learned by helping some of the younger children with whatever the dealings are that they're having in microsociety.
And just to reflect on that,
I should mention, by the way, that ultimately, with the succeeding years, we will be a full-fledged kindergarten through 8th grade school of about 180 students.
Wow.
And any parent in New Hampshire is eligible to have their child attend this school, tuition-free. The only issue with some parents might be transportation. But if they're going back and forth to Boston every day and they come through Nashua anyway, they might be able to drop off their children on their way to work.
Right.
And pick up their children on the way home. You know, if they don't live in the town that we're going to be locating the school.
With the micro society, obviously, you're not going to have maybe as funding, say, like a regular, like an Elm Street or the high school. Can you participate? Can you go into those facilities and use, for instance, their gyms, or will you have that type of thing available? Well, you know, like the gyms or things that you probably can't afford right off in the charter school.
Well, we're hoping when we're looking for a facility that not only would provide classroom space and some multi-purpose spaces that we can use for not only a cafeteria but also for the micro-society marketplace and the various ventures and agencies to do business. We'd be looking for a location that could have a multi-purpose room to do phys ed activities, et cetera.
Yeah, I guess
one of the locations we're considering has some nice outdoor space where children could do basketball or could do track and what have you. And also, although we'll be a small school, you know, there will be an opportunity to offer some intramural and possibly some interscholastic sports opportunities, you know, such as cross country or soccer or basketball. And we certainly would be looking, the director, whoever that should be, and the staff will certainly be looking at opportunities for our students to mix and compete with, you know, the parochial schools, other private schools, or some of the public schools. So, and we plan on being part of the community. As you know firsthand, we are working on reaching out to the community to partner with community members as board of advisors, meaning people who might come in on an on-call basis, talking to us and talking to the children about their jobs and mentoring the children in some way. And then also we're looking for community members to flesh out our board of trustees. And so we are definitely going to be a full-fledged part of the community and the greater national community at that. We already have Enterprise Bank, for example, which has branches now in Hudson as well as in downtown Nashua, and they are one of our partners who will be
they're very
working
active
with
in the
us.
Community.
Pardon?
They're very active in the community.
They are, and they are very supportive of nonprofit organizations such as ours. And we, with our ideas of creating a bank as part of our marketplace, we hope to have them roll up their sleeves and work alongside our children in helping to set up that bank so that it would operate in an appropriate manner that the children can understand.
Right.
And using the school currency.
Used to be, you know, we'd play Monopoly. That used to be a way of teaching how to work money and to, well, basically game the system, I guess. But
yeah, exactly.
It was very instructive. And then, of course, then you had games like chess, you had Twixt, and other where it got your mind involved. It's good that things like the bank are involved. I know they recently, we had the Front Door agency here on just recently, where they help single mothers, you know, get reestablished back into the communities. And geez, maybe it'd be really nice for some of their children to be able to go into the micro society as well, so that they could, I don't know, it seems to me like it's such a great idea that it's worth exploring.
Well, we appreciate your support. And if I may, I think Teresa would be able to provide some testimony in regards to she was a staff member at a previous micro society school, but she also was a parent of 2 children,
right.
And she decided she had a lot of options. She decided to send her 2 children to the micro-society school
How
as
many
well.
years did they complete, Teresa?
The whole thing, K to 8.
Really?
Well, no, my daughter left in junior high because I moved.
Yeah.
But my son did the whole K.
Did you have any reservations about the beginning of it, or what decided they?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, when I got hired for my job as a teacher, government teacher in the 7th and 8th grade, I learned the staff, and I was impressed with the quality of the staff, the teaching quality of the staff. And every parent wants that for their child.
Right.
And then I learned the program. And I love the program. And I said, I want my kids to experience this. I want them to have jobs. I want them to enjoy school. My kids to love going there. There was never any argument at home about, do I have to go to school today? They didn't like missing school. They wanted to go every day. They couldn't wait. Every year that you get a little older. I know you mentioned something about coordinating the societies with the grades. I don't know if there's a misconception or maybe not, but it's one society regardless of the grade.
Well, no, I totally understood that
you
concept.
said so.
Yeah.
So my kids, as they would progress through the years, you know, it was like, oh, I'm going to be in 5th grade. I want to be a bailiff this year because I think I'd be good at it. They get all excited about what they want to do the next year. And both of them went through, like, I think, every organization there was, whether it was government or the banks or a business. Both of them did all of it. And they loved it. And they learned so much. And today, well, both my children are very well aware of current events, politics. I mean, some of the influence was me because I was the government teacher and I ran the court system and other things, but also because of the community. They're very well aware. Our legislature, it isn't like traditional schools where a kid runs for president and it's a big deal and they make posters, but it's not a real position. At a micro-society school, it's a real position. The legislation met every week. They made up laws, and they wrote them, and the society had to follow them. And when I ran the courtroom, I enforced them. And so the kids weren't just running to have a title. Like they might have been the representative for 2nd grade. You know, it was set up like the Constitution, so you'd have 2 representatives in 2nd grade, let's say, and 2. And so these kids went to so in the legislature, you had a 1st grader, a couple 2nd graders. And the kids loved that because they felt ownership.
And all in this process,
very much a community.
They're learning to read, they're learning to write,
Yes,
they're doing the arithmetic,
exactly.
they're doing, and there's a practical application to it as well. I just think it's an amazing idea.
They become good citizens.
What I was talking about earlier, what I was going to mention is the fact, you know, if there's a 6th grader that's gone through the process, what better way of learning than to teaching the 4th grader or the 3rd grader the things that you've already, and it's reinforcing the things. You want to learn a topic? Teach it. Right? Isn't that true? No, I didn't ask about music. Will you include music as well?
Oh, yeah.
Well, in a micro-society, we include as many of the things that go on outside the society, the good stuff, I should say, and include that in the micro-society. So there's art, music, and phys ed activities. There's an opportunity, for example, we had a phys ed teacher who was a major enthusiast for fishing. And he, with some of the students, set up in the gym a type of aquarium setup.
Yeah.
And but one of the activities which the kids needed to sign up for and needed to pay for with their school currency was the opportunity to go across the street with the teacher under his supervision and another teacher, and they would go fishing in the canals of Lowell, which was right across the street from our school location. And, you know, they would, you know, they didn't, it was a matter of catching the fish and taking a photo and releasing.
Sure.
You know, because trying to bring a fish home on a school bus could be a problem.
Oh, and there's no need to, but the whole adventure. And
But
you can learn.
they came back with their fish stories
Sure.
to the aquarium, and they would write them down in a journal and talk about those. And they were creating these wall murals using these large sheets of paper, and they would not only talk about the flora and fauna and the ecosystem
Right.
of the river, which was nearby, which flowed into the canals, but also ultimately going into the ocean, et cetera. And all of that was tied in
Sure.
to the fact that the teacher was enthusiastic about fishing, and the kids
Learn about some science in the process.
kids loved the idea of the possibility of doing that, particularly children who were not exposed to it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were so motivated to be able to learn more and more.
And really,
just using that hook, if you
Sure.
excuse the
it's a
pun.
great illustration, and it's funny because if you're a fisherman, you know that there's going to be certain foods at certain parts, and where do those foods come from? Either the tributaries or all the algae, everything, how it works together. It's just a beautiful thing, and having them learning how all that works together in this symbiotic relationship, using math, science, the whole thing. It's just a cool concept.
And
I'm actually,
if I may, and Teresa can tell you that I should point out that the children that sometimes took leadership for some of these activities and possibly became a manager, an assistant manager of one of these enterprises, sometimes these were not always the students that you would call gifted and talented. Some of them might have been designated as special needs students.
Yeah.
And so that gave them an opportunity to excel at that. And
I got
sometimes
58 seconds left.
they
for
were
the show.
instructing the gifted and talented children on some of the concepts.
And it draws them out, and that's what I just think the whole concept
Like you
is a great
said
idea.
earlier, kids succeed in all different ways.
Yeah.
And Micro Society opens it up so they can all succeed, regardless of how they learn or what level of skill they're at.
We need to ask you, you want the public to know more about this, and you need their help on something. What is it? You have 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, I would like people to go to our Facebook page, and we just recently put up our pre-enrollment form. We urge parents who are considering the possibility to pre-enroll their children, so you folks are on our radar. And then also, please look at the GoFundMe link that's on our page. The state and the federal government are providing us with funds to get started and run the program. However, the budget is still quite lean and tight. So we are looking for additional funding, and we're going to be setting up a Friends of the Micro Society
Maybe
Academy
sponsors.
to help us do family activities and raise funds. So we urge people to go to our Facebook page, and if you have questions, contact our email address, and you could also call our telephone number, but I think the email address may be the best way of getting response and/or posting on our Facebook page.
Great. And that's it for now. Thank you for watching Gate City Chronicles. Please look at the websites or the Facebook page. I think it's a great concept, this whole micro society. It's another alternative for children that learn differently. Thank you for watching Gate City Chronicles, and we want to thank our sponsor, Avard, the Dean of Clean. You can reach them at 603-521-7657. If you need your carpets cleaned, call Avard.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.